drive for goal to strike, Leon! Right, now the cross comes. 4 people to claim it, headed on, and your equalizing goal! Across on the bottom of Polkin, or in for Leon! Here's Leon. Flag stays down, it's 2.
It's another sellout crowd for the Canadian women. Starlight Stadium in Langford, British Columbia welcomes a friendly match between Canada and Australia. These two teams square off for the first time since the World Cup. With one eye, we watch how Bev Priestman continues to prepare her team for the Olympics. And with the other, we watch the greatest player in Canada step onto the pitch in her penultimate game. And it's all right here on One Soccer. Hello, everyone, and welcome inside our One Soccer studio. You are watching Matchday Live, presented by CIBC, Annie Petrillo, Jordan Wilson, and that is Carmelina Moscato, former national team player. 2 more games to go this year. 2 more games to go for Christine Sinclair representing the Maple Leaf. And throughout the show, we're going to be hearing from some of her teammates as they pay homage to the player who brought this country so much joy with her play on the pitch. But here's the thing. We know, Carm, this isn't just a farewell tour for Christine Sinclair. Bev Priestman has to figure out her team here as they look to defend their Olympic gold medal in Paris next summer. As of today, do you think this team is constructed to contend for another Olympic title?
No, I'm just going to say it, abruptly at the beginning. And not because they can't get there or the roster isn't in development and that, they're in transition at the minute. And I think there's going to be a lot to get right if they're going to be actually on that podium come a few months' time in July. So when I look back to what they did in Tokyo Gold, they had vets that were performing at their absolute top level, that had all the experience from the previous gold medals, and that has changed. They don't have as much of an experienced team as they did before, so a lot of these youngins getting a chance are going to need to really step up. The rosters are smaller. This team needs to get their defending dominance back on track. We know that that's exactly what got them on that podium at that time, and they've kind of loosened that this year. More open play goals, more set play goals. All the themes have to come together. And let me finish with this one. It's the team health as well. They have a lot of injuries. They went into this past World Cup and major tournament with tons of injuries. They're going to have a healthy squad, one that's in form in the club land, and then be able to pull that all together with a reduced roster. I know it's at 22 now, but still reduced and still need to do a huge job.
So it sounds like your belief is that there's still a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you want healthy bodies, too. So the Paris Olympics, as we know, they kick off in July. What is it that you want to see from this team, Jordan, that will give you confidence that they can go out and repeat as Olympic champions?
Yeah, I think I've said it a few times, but how I really feel about this women's national team is they've played 11 games in 2023, and they scored 11 goals. I think I need that to be doubled. I think that you see a bit now. I think Bev has an attacking identity within the squad and how they want to play. One, I think they need a plan B, just in case that doesn't work. But the players that they have going forward, the Leon, the Lacasse, the Viennes, I know she's not playing tonight, but players like that can go and make a difference, hide them out. These players, they need to be showing up consistently for Canada every time. If you can get that number, 11, and maybe get it closer to in the 20s, right, and averaging 2 goals a game, it's a lot of math. I might be losing some people. But right now, 11 goals and 11 matches, that's a goal a game. If we could double that and get to 2, then you're dominating games. Then you can work on the defensive bit, Carm.
Yeah, and I think, coupled with that, to your point, defensive dominance, I think they can kind of pull something in a few months. But I just think that this team has a long way to go, and I think that tonight is just a step forward towards that. I think they need to try to start to, get some new players out there. And I love what you said about Plan B. I think that's extremely important because we saw them get stuck against Brazil in the last match. And this is a Type 1, Tier 1 opponent, and they're going to need to show that they can do that across the best of the best.
Yes.
We'll get to their starting 11 in just a moment, perhaps talk about that Plan B. But first, let's go pitch side and hear from Bev Priestman.
Bev, there's no avoiding this isn't a normal window for your side, but how have you kind of managed preparations for tonight's game against Australia?
Yeah, I think, today going into this game, there's been very little talk about what's to come. I think that moment's obviously going to be special, but I think the players have put a lot of work in. It's felt like a quick turnaround into this game, but I think the group are excited to get out on the pitch and build on the momentum of the last game that we had.
Are there any particular areas of progression you're looking for after those 2 games against Brazil?
I think, I talked today about like us thriving in moments, and I thought that second half we did, about doing that more consistently and actually just backing ourselves and, daring to be brave a little bit more and get on it more, which is what I thought we could do. So I think we look good when we relax into a game, and I'm hoping that tonight we can get on the front foot and really get after it.
Thank you very much, Bev. Good luck tonight.
Thanks.
Let's get to Canada's starting 11, brought to you by GE. So I'm going to point out who's not here, because these are players who have made a name for themselves. I mean, no Julia Grosso, ankle injury. No Evelyn Viens, once again, ankle injury for her too. No Olivia Smith, young up-and-comer, dealing with a concussion. And on the bench, you're going to see some newcomers who are receiving their first call-ups. Geneva Hernandez, great midfielder with the Vancouver Whitecaps. Forward Latifa Abdu, she plies her trade in France. But no Christine Sinclair getting the start. Those two games against Brazil, she didn't get the start either. She came on as a substitute. It appears it's going to be the same tonight. What do you think that tells you about Bev Priestman's mindset?
Yeah, she's preparing for the Olympics, straight up. I think everybody in the stands wants to see Sinclair out there. Everyone wants to applaud when she, steps off that field. I think everyone's going to get that moment with her, as they should, on Tuesday in the upcoming game. But for this game, I think she's going with the roster that she has gone with in a lineup, continuing on the work that she's done with the partnerships, making sure that there's an evolution there. You see D'Angelo getting another opportunity, which I'm really excited, because these minutes do not come easily for goalkeepers, so great decision there. And then Simi as well in the midfield, Awujo, obviously with Grosso being out, that's a wonderful opportunity. We've all been waiting to see her perform, so this is, she's got to take this one by the horns.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, Carm, this is an opportunity, a massive one for Simi Awujo, because you look at Grosso maybe playing in the middle, Quinn, partner with Fleming, you probably would say that's your best pair. But this is a time where you go and say, look at me, manager. Like, you can trust me and use me in big moments. This is not just a friendly. This is that opportunity to go and make a statement. So hopefully she could do that tonight.
Goalkeeper position, I mean, that's an interesting one. That's one we also like to talk a lot about, even on the men's side of things, because I think we know that Kaylin Sheridan is going to see those games at the Gold Cup next year. That starts in February into March. That's a crucial tournament. Your number one is going to get those minutes. Where do you find the minutes for your backup? Because crazier things have happened. You go back to the Tokyo Olympics. I mean, Steph Labe got injured.
That's right.
Kaylin Sheridan had to come in. These things can't happen, so you have to keep that backup goalkeeper fresh. It's part of your Plan B conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. This is a friendly. We know this. But we also know that the last time they met Australia was in that final group stage game at the World Cup. The Canadians just needed a draw to move on. It ended up being a 4-0 dismantling. The Canadians, I mean, everyone was shocked. It was a completely shocking performance. I mean, I know you were there, Carmen, just probably, saw the looks on everyone's faces. That eliminated the Canadians from the World Cup in the group stage. Even though this is a friendly, do they have revenge on their mind?
Yes!
Right.
Absolutely. Look, this is not about me, but I'm just going to take a moment down memory lane. 20 seconds, bear with me. I remember a preseason match, 2017, freezing cold. A team in our division slapped us 5-0. Right? Couldn't get close to any midfielders. They're just running by us. They're on flames that day. They're so good. 6 weeks later, we played them in the league. Revenge was on the line. I was going studs up in tackles, got a yellow card early. We made sure we won that game because, look, all these players that Canada are playing tonight, Australia, they're going to remember flashbacks to all these players running by them, scoring goals, and then the apologies that they had, Carm, after, right? Apologizing to the nation. You remember that. This is a time you want to go out and do your best. So I think revenge should be on their mind.
Yeah, I think it's a layer. I wouldn't scream yet.
I'm fired up, Carm.
I'm not going to scream about it, but what I do feel is that they, more than anything, they would have wanted to get that process right, because this Australian team back in the World Cup, they completely dismantled them, to your point. Coach Tony Gustafsson said Canada did have their chances. We were more clinical on the night, but having been there, in my humble opinion, they also got broken down quite a bit. So the process, getting ready for this Olympic Games, that's what I would be focusing on as a player, getting my bit right, performing for minutes, making sure that I'm the solid choice for Bev moving forward. So I'm going to go a little balanced there and say process as well. But I hear you loud.
Balance is probably the right thing.
But either way, this is a great opponent to take on. Great matchup here as we take a look at Australia's starting 11, brought to you by GE. But no Sam Kerr, dealing with a foot injury, so the superstar is out. But this team, by the way, has yet to qualify for the Paris Olympics. They are in a good position, though. They're in the final stage of qualification. They're undefeated. And in February, they will face Uzbekistan in a home and away to book their ticket to the games. All right, it's time now to show some love to Sinclair. Here's Ashley Lawrence.
I immediately think to London 2012. That was my first true exposure to the team and to women's football at a high level. So just seeing how they were able to perform and just make the mark for Canada. Just think of the game against the US and Sinky scoring a hat trick. Yeah, that really sparked a fire for me. And, you know, I wanted to play professionally, but I definitely wanted to represent Canada one day. So that's really a memory that stuck with me. And I'm just so happy that I've been able to grace the field with her.
Over, brilliant! What a strike! Again I say, who
We created Carlsberg 0-0 because even the best things can be better. Where I go if we be. Clean one-handed backhand is better. Balancing stuff is better. Whatever this is better. We created Carlsberg. Skipping your own ad is better. Parking in space, better. So, can the best alcohol-free beer make good things better? Probably.
Sentinel Storage, proudly supporting Canada Soccer's women's national team. Thank you, Christine.
There's got a wide open goal. She's going to try and chip, and it's in off the post. Christine Sinclair ties the match.
My first camp was in Vancouver, and he told me that you performed well, and we're going to invite you to come to the Algarve with the national team. And I was just completely overwhelmed. Didn't think I belonged. And then he's like, "And by the way, you're starting." It's been quite the ride. And Evan, I give a lot of credit to him. He changed this program and gave a lot of youngsters, myself included, a chance that I don't think many other national team coaches would have. I'm thankful for him.
Can you recall maybe what your ambitions and your goals were at 16 years old entering the senior national team for the first time?
Not to make a fool of myself, to speak. I'm so quiet. And then I remember obviously scoring my second game. And then I scored a few more in that tournament. I'm not going to lie. In that moment, I found out how many goals Mia Hamm had at the time. And kind of set I never set the goal, but it was just kind of there. I'm like, wow, I've played 4 caps and scored 3 goals. This is pretty, just an awareness piece. It was, weird.
That was Oliver Platt's sit down with Christine Sinclair. One more game to go. That will be Tuesday. We'll get you ready with a 1-hour pregame show starting at 9 p.m. And on that date as well, December 5th, we will show you the full interview, that full sit down with Christine Sinclair. Oliver Platt still out in BC, now being joined by former national team member Claire Rustad. So for more on tonight's game, I hand it over to you two.
Thanks, Andy. We've got what you call proper soccer weather here on Vancouver Island. And Claire, let's start there with Vancouver Island, because it's hard to know where to start when you talk about Christine Sinclair's legacy and the impacts that she's leaving on this country, on the sport in this country. But do games like tonight here at Starlight Stadium maybe form part of that legacy?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid who grew up in a small rural community not too far from here, this sort of event, a world-class event like this in a stadium like this in one of the smaller cities in Canada, did not exist 30 years ago, did not exist prior to Christine Sinclair. We owe her a huge debt of gratitude. The sport of soccer in this country has been built on her back. She has made this team a mainstay in the media. She has made these players household names outside of the households that are typically really dedicated to soccer at baseline. She made this a very popular sport in this country, and like I said, we all just owe her a huge debt of gratitude.
Let's talk about tonight's game. There's the obvious comparison point to the World Cup, where obviously Canada was eliminated and in ugly fashion by Australia. But this has looked like a very different team since. There's been a shift in tactics, in formation from Bev Priestman. What have you kind of made of the past two windows and the new system she's adopted, and what you're expecting to see tonight?
Yeah, I like how fluid the new system is. I think in the past it was very formulaic and very predictable, and at times very stagnant. But now, whether it looks like a 3-4-3, whether it looks like a 5-3-2, sometimes it looks like a straight 4-4-2. But the fact that it's fluid is what's important here. I think the main part about that's changed for them with this new formation is it's much more attacking minded and much more offensively focused. A large part of that is because of Lawrence and Collins, putting them out as the wing backs and benefiting from their attacking mind, not just their defensive mind. If we're only using them as fullbacks, they're wasted. You have to benefit from the fact that they can contribute solidly to the attack.
There's the eternal debate with the national team, men's and women's. When do you give the opportunities to younger players? We've got some really big veterans with a lot of caps going out. Simia Wujo starts tonight. There's Hernandez Gray, Abdu potentially waiting for their debuts on the bench as well. What could we see, should we see from maybe some of the younger players coming into this camp?
Yeah, first, I'm really glad you made me put my umbrella down at this point. It is getting worse. No, the younger players, they need minutes. I think Carm mentioned it earlier. Like, this is a preparation match for the Olympic Games, and you need to get some of the younger players minutes now. You don't want to fall victim to injuries closer to the tournament. You have to get these younger players some caps at this stage. What I like about the younger players they brought into camp, again, all very offensively minded. When they receive the ball, they're half turns. You're laughing at me in the rain again, man. They receive the ball, they're half turned, looking to go forward. They like to attack on the dribble. They like to have a go from outside of the box. It really adds another dimension to this attack.
Australia as well, playing a very different lineup than we're used to seeing, with maybe some of the same ideas in mind going into the Olympic year next year as well. It is coming down as bad as it has done at any point tonight, just as we're joining you, Andy, so we're going to send it quickly back to you in studio.
It's so nice in here, nice and warm and cozy, and the temperature control and everything. Look, they're not even waiting to listen to me. They're like, we're out of here, getting under the umbrella. All right, that is Oliver Platt, Claire Russet on location. We also, by the way, have the Eredivisie League right here on One Soccer. Tune in December 3rd at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. NEC taking on Ajax. And all right, we promised you, the players, we continue to pay homage to Christine Sinclair. Here's Jade Revere with her favorite Christine Sinclair goal.
There's so many, honestly, but I think her goal that marked 185, I think was something that was a long time coming. I think it brought I released a lot of pressure from her, and I think to be a part of it, be on the same pitch as her, that was something that was really memorable, and I'll take that with me.
Canada's women's national team on One Soccer is brought to you by the Toyota Corolla family.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada, because this journey belongs to everyone.
Sentinel Storage, proudly supporting Canada Soccer's women's national team. Thank you, Christine.
There's got a wide open goal. She's going to try and chip, and it's in off the post. Christine Sinclair ties the match.
Gatorade, with electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
CanadaSoccerStore.com is the official home for the widest range of Canada Soccer licensed product, match jerseys, and fanwear.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so hard. Probably one of my favorite memories was, strangely enough, against Australia in the 2016 Olympics. We were down to 10 players, and that was one of the hardest games I've ever played in. And she half-mooned the goalkeeper and like chipped it from like 30 yards out. And I was right there. So that was one of my favorite memory goals of hers for sure.
Canada's opponent tonight, Australia. Also, their opponent on December 5th. Here are the last three meetings. This is what got our hopes up high, I guess, for that final group stage game at the World Cup, was the two friendlies prior to that they had played against them in September. 1-0 and 2-1 victories. But as we know, the bitter taste is, of course, that group stage game at the World Cup that saw the Canadians eliminated 4-0 by the host nations, the Aussies. They're playing at Starlight Stadium. That is the home of Pacific FC of the Canadian Premier League. So this is a place that you've played. We just saw Ollie and Claire. The rain is coming down. What kind of conditions can you expect there?
Yeah, one, you should also mention I scored a crucial penalty at that stadium as well. But it's okay. This is not about me, guys. It's not about me.
I couldn't tell.
I'm so sorry. No, this pitch, one thing you can say about this pitch at Starlight Stadium, Vancouver Island, it's a bit narrow, Carm. So a team that wants to play and find pockets, it's one of those things where maybe you have to be a bit pragmatic, at least to start for Canada. But it's also a pitch for Collins or Lawrence to have a great game because you can pick out crosses, right? You can cross from deep. But with a slick surface, you know this better than anyone, right? Yeah. You have to be clean on your touch.
Definitely.
It could be really messy in the beginning, but the team that really settles into the game early on will have the upper hand.
Yeah, and adapting to a pitch like this, to your point, I think Canada needs space to play in the way that they're looking to play in terms of getting wide, getting that width to play through. So I will be interested to see those the adaptations that we're all hoping for. When Plan A isn't working, because we're super happy with the evolution, what will they do differently today?
I think Plan B, when you're looking at it as well, is just being a bit like pragmatic, not losing the ball in certain areas, right? I look at Canada sometimes, and it's if you're playing with their back three, sometimes it's about clipping it into a channel,
totally,
right? And just protecting what you have. And hopefully they can do that tonight.
Just getting an update right now. Sabrina D'Angelo was set to start in this match, and we're hearing that Caitlin Sheridan will in fact go in. We were just watching them during warm-up there. D'Angelo was in net, Sheridan was behind her. Don't know what happened there. We're not hearing anything else, but Sabrina D'Angelo, we're kind of excited about seeing the backup goalie just get those minutes, but clearly something has happened now where Sheridan has to go in.
I think about Liziane. My mind goes straight to, if this is a game and an opportunity to get another look, then when is Liziane Prue going to get her opportunity as well, that third keeper? So of course I don't know the details of that decision, but yeah, that's a little bit, that's very unfortunate, in fact.
It is. So obviously we hope it's not anything serious. Christine Sinclair, as we know, not starting. That we already knew is probably going to, will come on. I'm not going to say probably, will come on as a substitute. A lot of fans out there to see her. She last scored July 5th, 2022. When she comes on these final two games, what do you want to see from Christine?
She's going to score.
Okay.
I will also think, I think it's a bit like, when you're a joker at training, you're the person that no one should tackle. We're going to see that as well. She's going to be holding up the ball. She can't lose today. She personally cannot lose. She's going to go out and ball and have a great time.
There's no way the ref is giving her any card either.
No.
Carte blanche.
They would be absolutely branded for the rest of their lives. I wouldn't.
She can go and run around and do whatever she wants. And listen, we might see some sliding out there. Slip and slide, if anyone knows that reference. It is a wet one out in British Columbia. We're getting you set for Canada, Australia, a friendly inside Starlight Stadium. And you're watching it right here on One Soccer. It's Matchday Live, presented by CIBC. Kickoff is around the corner. Stay with us.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
How do you go from the best to the ultimate without breaking the bank? You choose the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Sausages and Hot Dogs. Choose ultimate taste and value, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
There's got a wide open goal. She's going to try and chip, and it's in off the post. Christine Sinclair ties the match.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see us with a $10 million valuation.
In 5 years, doing this full time.
I see myself with her.
I see myself with her.
I'll be playing for Canada.
We'll be doing this, but in Japan.
In 5 years? Where won't I be in 5 years?
This match is brought to you by CIBC, Canada Soccer's lead partner.
Welcome to Vancouver Island, where the calendar is flipped to the final month of 2023, and it will be a year of reflection. And unfortunately for our national team, some opportunities that they will have felt went by and through the cracks. But with this opportunity to close out their 2023 season against a very formidable opponent. Australia are in town as we count down towards the end, an end that many supporters of Canadian football and Canadian sports didn't want to think was ever going to come. But that is, of course, Christine Sinclair, as this is her farewell send-off. Not in the starting 11 tonight. We would expect to see her as the match progresses and everything leading up to Tuesday's game at Christine Sinclair Place for one night only in Vancouver, BC. As the teams make their way through to the pitch on what is a very cold and very rainy Friday evening in Langford, quite the opposite conditions from the other Victoria that Canada will be familiar with. That is the state of Victoria, where they played against the Australians and where they saw their 2023 World Cup come to a screeching halt. 4-0 they would lose to the Australians on the day, and it led to a lot of self-reflection, a lot of questions, and even some tears from the Canadian players saying they let down a nation. Ben Priestman has been clear that this is not a mindset of revenge, but rather trying to push forward with a busy 2024 on the horizon. Gold Cup and Olympics, chances for silverware, but this is an up-and-coming Australian side, so much so that their manager Tony Gustafson has elected to totally change up his starting 11. All of that coming to you on the other side of the pre-match presentations. We will step aside for Advance Australia Fair and O Canada and be back to Starlight Stadium.
Friends, we now draw your attention to midfield and invite you to join us in celebrating the remarkable international career of Canada's captain, Christine Sinclair. As an honored tradition, the jersey exchange represents a commitment to the growth of the sport, a commitment to fair play and mutual respect. To take part in tonight's special jersey exchange, we now invite Christine's nieces, Caitlin and Kenzie, to the field. Please join us in welcoming them to the pitch. Next, we invite you to join us in celebrating Canada Soccer's Captain Everything. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest international goal scorer of all time, Christine Sinclair. This final jersey exchange sees Caitlin and Kenzie present Christine with their community club jerseys and represents the future growth of the sport from the next generation of youth soccer players across Canada. One more time, let's give it up for Caitlin, Kenzie, and Christine. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are able, would you please stand for the national anthem of Australia? And now please remain standing, raise your Canada colors, and join us in the singing of O Canada.
A capacity crowd at Starlight Stadium in Langford, British Columbia, where Christine Sinclair has already been honored. It's going to be a week of that for the greatest to ever lace them up for this Canadian national team. And arguably, though I think many in this country would say it's an easy argument, the greatest to ever